Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, replaying past mistakes? Doubting your worth, overthinking every detail? It feels small at first, until it quietly becomes your reality. But what if I told you, this doesn't have to be your story? In this video, we'll unlock Stoic strategies inspired by Marcus Aurelius to break free from the mental habits that sabotage you, not with forced positivity, but with clarity, resilience, and quiet inner power. Negative thinking doesn't scream, it whispers. A quiet voice telling you you're not enough, that you'll fail again, that it's safer not to try. But here's the truth. That voice isn't you. In this episode, we're going to dismantle those patterns, one thought at a time, using timeless Stoic wisdom and practical mindset shifts that put the power back where it belongs, in your hands. We all experience it, a passing thought that turns into a storm. Doubt, fear, frustration. Before you know it, you're spiraling. But what if those thoughts aren't the problem? What if it's the story you're telling yourself about them? This video is not about just think positive. It's about mastering your mind with ancient truths and modern tools that help you rise, even when your thoughts try to pull you down. You see, we don't see the world as it is. We see it through the lens of our thoughts, our beliefs, our past experiences. And if that lens is cloudy, distorted by fear, insecurity, or self-doubt, then even the smallest challenge can feel like a personal failure. Let's say you present an idea at work, and someone critiques it. Instantly, your mind goes, "I'm not good at this. I'm not smart enough. I shouldn't have spoken up." But here's the thing. Was that really the truth? Or just a story you told yourself? Because the exact same situation could be seen completely differently. That feedback is going to help me improve. I'm glad someone took the time to notice and respond. Same event, two radically different realities. And the only difference is perception. This idea isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. The Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said it best. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's powerful, isn't it? Because it means we're not powerless. We're not at the mercy of every tough moment, every word someone says, every bad day that comes our way. We can take back control by choosing a more helpful perspective. So how do we actually do that? It starts with awareness. Most of us walk around reacting automatically to everything. A text we didn't get, a tone in someone's voice, a memory from years ago. But when you pause and observe the story you're telling yourself in that moment, that's where transformation begins. Ask yourself, what am I making this mean? Is this story empowering me, or is it tearing me down? You'd be surprised how often the pain doesn't come from the event itself, but from the assumptions you've attached to it. The second step is to challenge those interpretations. If your inner voice says, "I'll never get this right," stop and ask, is that actually true, or is it just fear talking? What's the evidence? What's another way I could look at this? Sometimes that shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can curse the world, stress yourself out, or you can use that time to breathe, listen to a podcast, or just enjoy the pause. That's called reframing, and it's one of the most effective mental tools we have. It's not about denial. It's about choosing to see the situation in a way that gives you clarity instead of chaos. Because here's the truth: your perception becomes your experience. The more you view the world through a lens of fear, frustration, or defeat, the more you reinforce those feelings. But when you shift your perception, even slightly, you create space for peace, for confidence, for growth. And here's the best part: this isn't something reserved for monks or philosophers. It's something you can start practicing today. Start by noticing your reactions, especially to challenges. When something irritates you, disappoints you, or triggers self-doubt, pause. Name the story. Question it. Then, ask yourself, what's another, more empowering way to see this? It could be as simple as turning "I failed" into "I learned something important." Or, "They don't like me" into "Maybe they're just having a hard day. And it's not about me at all." These small shifts are the foundation of mental strength. Because when you take control of your perception, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the author of your own experience. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself this: is this the truth, or just the story I'm telling myself? Because that one question could change everything. Let me ask you something deeply personal, and maybe even a little uncomfortable. When was the last time you believed something negative about yourself and never questioned it? Maybe it was something like, "I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. No one really cares what I have to say." Now stop and ask yourself, where did that thought come from? Because here's the truth: negative thinking is rarely born in the moment. It's rooted deeply, and like weeds in a garden, if we don't pull them up by the root, they just keep growing back. Most of our negative thought patterns don't just appear out of nowhere. They've been built over years, through experiences, pain, disappointments, even the way we were raised. Sometimes, it's a harsh comment from a parent that you internalized as a child. Sometimes, it's a past failure that left a scar so deep, your mind created a protective pattern to stop you from trying again. We call these mental loops defense mechanisms. And while they might have started as a way to protect you, now, they might be the very thing holding you back. Let me give you an example. Imagine a kid who speaks up in class and gets laughed at. The sting of that moment teaches their brain, speaking up is dangerous. Better to stay quiet. Years later, that same kid is now an adult in a meeting, holding back valuable input because somewhere deep inside, the mind still believes that silence equals safety. This is how negative thinking works. It's not always loud. It's subtle. It's not always logical. But it feels real. And over time, those thoughts become habitual. They become a lens through which we view ourselves and the world. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, what you think about consistently shapes who you become. So, how do we break that pattern? How do we clean the lens and begin seeing ourselves and our lives more clearly? It starts with awareness. The next time a negative thought shows up, don't just accept it as truth. Pause. Observe it. Ask, where is this coming from? Is this thought based on fact or just fear? You'd be amazed how often that inner critic is just echoing an outdated belief, not current reality. Let's say you're afraid to try something new because you think you'll fail. Stop and ask yourself, have I failed every time before? Probably not. Is this fear trying to help me, or just hold me hostage? By identifying the root, you reclaim control. Once you find the root, the next step is to challenge the story. If your mind says, "I'll never be good at this," look for proof to the contrary. Even small wins matter. Remind yourself of the times you succeeded despite fear. Gather evidence that supports a more empowering belief. Finally, replace the old thought with a new, intentional narrative. Not a lie, not fake positivity, but a grounded, supportive truth. Instead of, "I'll never get this right," try, "I'm learning, I'm improving, every effort counts." Instead of, "I'm not worthy," try, "I may not be perfect, but I am valuable, and I'm growing." Think of this like cleaning out a cluttered closet. At first, it's messy, overwhelming. You've held onto these beliefs for so long that letting go can feel scary. But as you sort through the mess, something beautiful happens. You start to feel lighter, clearer, freer. Because here's what I want you to remember. Negative thoughts are just habits, and habits can be changed. The more you uncover their roots, the more power you gain over your mind. And once you stop living by old stories, you can start writing your own. So the next time that voice of fear or self-doubt whispers in your mind, pause, take a breath, and say, "This isn't me, it's just a pattern, and I'm ready to break it." Because that awareness, that's not weakness. That's the first sign of strength. Let's talk about something incredibly important, something that most of us never learn in school. And yet it shapes every single part of our lives. You can train your mind. And more importantly, you can retrain it. You see, your brain is not fixed. It's not a concrete slab with permanent markings. It's more like a garden. What you water grows, and what you ignore withers away. Unfortunately, for most of us, we've spent years, maybe even decades, watering the wrong thoughts. Thoughts like, "I'm not good enough. Things never work out for me. Why even try?" These aren't truths. They're habits. And the good news is, habits can be changed. The ancient Stoics understood this long before neuroscience confirmed it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Not your income, not your relationships, not even your circumstances, your thoughts." But here's the catch. Not every thought is worth believing. Just because it shows up in your head doesn't mean it's real, or helpful, or even remotely accurate. Let that sink in for a moment. You have thousands of thoughts every single day. Some are inspired, some are irrational, some are just echoes of fears, doubts, and outdated beliefs you picked up years ago. So if your happiness depends on the quality of those thoughts, then you need to become the editor, not just the consumer, of your own mind. And it starts with one thing: awareness. The next time you catch yourself thinking something negative, pause, catch it, label it, look at it like you'd observe a passing cloud. Ask yourself, is this true? Do I have proof for this thought? Or is it just an old script playing on loop? Let's say you make a mistake and the voice in your head says, "I always mess things up." Instead of spiraling, ask, "Really? Always? What about the last 5 times I handled things just fine?" Challenge that thought like a lawyer poking holes in a weak argument. You'll be amazed at how flimsy most of your negative beliefs actually are. Once you've challenged it, the next step is to reframe. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I'm learning. I'm growing. This is part of the process." Instead of thinking, "I'm behind in life," try, "I'm on my own path, and it's unfolding in its own time." Reframing doesn't deny reality. It simply shifts your focus from blame to growth, from defeat to resilience. Now here's a tool that can amplify this even more. Gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about being polite or optimistic. It's one of the most powerful ways to train your brain to focus on what's working, instead of what's wrong. Start a simple gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things, big or small, that you're thankful for. Maybe it's a conversation you had. Maybe it's just your morning coffee. Maybe it's the fact that you're here, trying to become better. Over time, this simple habit rewires your brain. It helps you see the glass half full, even when life isn't perfect. And that shift? That's how you begin to renew your mind. Let me be clear, this isn't about toxic positivity. You're allowed to have bad days. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed. But what you're not going to do anymore is believe every thought that tries to tear you down. Because you're not a victim of your mind. You're its leader. And just like a leader trains their team, you can train your thoughts. So the next time your mind throws a negative loop your way, pause, breathe, question it, reframe it, and then redirect your focus toward what you can control, what you're grateful for, and what makes you stronger. You have the power to change the way you think. And when you change your thoughts, you change your life. Let's keep moving forward, one thought at a time. Let me share a truth that doesn't get talked about enough. Your environment is shaping your mind every single day. Not just your physical surroundings, but the people you spend time with, the conversations you have, the content you consume, and even the clutter on your desk. All of it plays a quiet, but powerful role in how you think, how you feel, and how you live. You could be working hard to build a better mindset, to think more positively, to find peace. But if you're surrounded by constant negativity, guess what? It's like trying to heal while living in a toxic room filled with smoke. You're doing the work, but you're breathing in poison the whole time. Let's break it down, starting with your relationships. Take a moment and think. Are the people around you lifting you up, or slowly draining your energy? We all have that one friend or coworker who always finds something to complain about. The type of person who, no matter what good news you share, always responds with doubt, fear, or criticism. And after every conversation with them, you feel heavier, not lighter. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cut everyone out of your life. But it does mean setting boundaries. You have every right to protect your mental and emotional energy. You don't have to feel guilty for saying no, for limiting time with toxic people, or for choosing peace over obligation. And on the flip side, seek out those who energize you. People who believe in growth. People who support you, celebrate your wins, and hold space when you're struggling. Surrounding yourself with people who see the best in you reminds you to see it in yourself. 2. Now let's talk about your physical space. Look around the place where you live or work. Is it cluttered, noisy, chaotic, or calm, clean, and inspiring? Science has shown that physical clutter creates mental fog. When your space is messy, your brain has to process more, even if you're not aware of it. But when your space is clear and organized, your mind becomes more focused, more grounded, more at ease. Start small. Clean off your desk. Light a candle. Add a plant. Open the window. Create a space that feels like peace. Because your environment should reflect the kind of life you want to live, not the stress you're trying to escape. Then there's the digital world. And let's be real, it's probably where you spend a huge part of your day. So ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? If your social media feed is full of negativity, drama, comparison, or fear, it's going to affect your mood, your thoughts, and even your self-worth. We become what we consume, and that includes what we scroll through in silence. Take control. Unfollow accounts that make you feel small or anxious. Follow those that uplift, inspire, and challenge you to grow. Fill your feed with stories of courage, progress, and resilience. Let your digital space become a source of light, not noise. It's the same with the books you read, the shows you watch, the podcasts you listen to. Every piece of content is either adding to your strength or draining your soul. Choose wisely. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you're working on building confidence. You're doing the journaling, the reflection, the self-talk, but every evening, you binge-watch toxic reality shows or scroll through highlight reels of influencers living a life you feel you'll never have. That's like trying to build self-love while pouring self-doubt into your mind every night. But if instead, you listened to a podcast about inner growth, or watched a story of someone who overcame obstacles, you're not just learning, you're rewiring your emotional landscape. So here's the invitation. Become the gatekeeper of your environment. Ask yourself, who do I spend the most time with? What kind of energy do they bring into my life? Does my space support the peace I'm seeking? Is the content I consume lifting me up, or slowly pulling me down? You don't have to change everything overnight. Just one small shift. Clean your desk. Call a friend who inspires you. Unfollow one toxic account. These little steps create massive change over time. Because when you surround yourself with positivity, you're not just decorating your life, you're defending your mind. And that is how you create a space for clarity, resilience, and joy to truly take root. Let your environment reflect the person you're becoming, not the version you're trying to outgrow. Let's get real for a moment. You can read all the books, listen to every motivational podcast, fill up journal after journal with positive thoughts, but none of it means anything if you don't take action. Action is the antidote to negative thinking. Let me say that again. Action is the antidote. Not overthinking, not waiting for the perfect moment, not debating your worth in your head for hours. You see, when we get stuck in negative thought loops, it's usually because we've stopped moving. We're frozen in fear, paralyzed by perfectionism, or lost in trying to control things that are simply outside our hands. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who lived through war, exile, and the harshness of real life, understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop theorizing. Stop waiting. Start living your values, right now. And that's the core of Stoic action. It's not about doing big, dramatic things. It's about taking meaningful steps today in the direction of what you can control. Let's break it down. Step 1. Focus only on what's within your control. There are so many things in life you can't control: what people say, the weather, the past, the outcome of your efforts. But you can control your attitude, your effort, your honesty, your integrity, your next step. When you shift your focus away from outcomes and onto actions, you reclaim your power. Instead of obsessing over whether you'll succeed, focus on showing up with purpose. Instead of trying to fix everyone else, focus on being someone you respect. That shift alone can bring peace into chaos. Step 2. Start small. Build momentum. Think of it like standing at the bottom of a mountain. The climb looks huge, overwhelming. But the moment you take one step, just one, everything changes. You're no longer stuck. You're moving. You've shifted from powerless to purposeful. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself every day. Are the words I'm using helping me or hurting me? Because words have power. They shape how we see ourselves. They influence how we treat others. And they create the emotional climate we live in. You don't need to get it perfect. You don't have to walk around with a smile glued to your face. But if you can just be a little more mindful, if you can catch one harmful phrase and replace it with something compassionate, if you can speak one kind word to someone else when it's easier to stay silent, you're not just shifting a conversation. You're shifting your mindset. You're shifting your life. So the next time your inner critic shows up, pause. Speak to yourself the way you would to someone you love. And watch what happens when your words become your greatest source of strength. Let me start with a question. When life hits you hard, how do you respond? Not just when things go wrong, but when they fall apart. When the job disappears. When the relationship ends. When nothing goes as planned. Some people break. Others bend, but they don't break. They adjust. They regroup. They keep going. That quality, the ability to bend without breaking, is called emotional resilience. It's not about pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's not about ignoring pain or bottling up your emotions. It's about choosing your response, even when the storm is raging. Think of emotional resilience like the deep roots of a tree. The wind blows, the weather changes, but the tree stands because its foundation is strong. And here's the best part. Emotional resilience isn't something you either have or you don't. It's a skill, one you can build, one you must build, if you want to move through life with clarity and strength. So how do we do that? Step 1. Focus on what you can control. When something difficult happens, our first instinct is to try to change things outside of us. But the Stoics remind us, that's a losing game. You can't control what others say. You can't undo the past. But you can control your thoughts, your actions, your choices. When you shift your focus to what's within your control, you take your power back. Instead of spiraling, you center yourself. You ask, what's my next best step? Even if it's small, even if it's just getting out of bed or taking a breath, it matters. Step 2. Reframe failure. Most people see failure as the end, but resilient people see failure as feedback, a lesson, a stepping stone. Let's say you didn't get the job, or the project flopped, or you embarrassed yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm a failure. Reframe it. What did this teach me? How can I use this to come back stronger? Every setback carries a seed of growth, if you're willing to look for it. Step 3. Practice self-compassion. We're often our own worst critics. But let me ask you, would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself? When you stumble, do you say, "I'm worthless," or do you say, "That was hard, but I'm still trying"? And that matters. Self-compassion isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It gives you the emotional space to heal, learn, and keep moving forward. Step 4. Stay present through mindfulness. In moments of emotional overwhelm, the mind loves to jump to the past we can't change or the future we can't predict. But the power is always in the present. Through mindfulness, just noticing your breath, your body, the moment, you interrupt the chaos. You remind yourself, right now, I'm safe, I'm breathing, I can choose my next move. That tiny pause can change the direction of an entire day. Step 5. Anchor yourself in gratitude. This one's powerful. Even when life feels overwhelming, there's always something to be grateful for. A kind word, a warm meal, a moment of silence. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it brings balance. It reminds you that life isn't just struggle. It's also beauty. Try this. Before you go to bed, name 3 things that went right today. It might feel small, but over time, it rewires your brain to see strength, not just stress. Here's the truth. Resilience doesn't mean you never fall. It means you get back up, again and again, with grace, with strength, with intention. It's the quiet decision to keep going when giving up would be easier. It's choosing courage over comfort, growth over blame, hope over despair. So the next time life shakes you, and it will, pause and remind yourself. This is hard, but I have the strength to get through it. I don't need to have all the answers. I just need to take one step forward. And that, my friend, is what emotional resilience looks like in real life. Not perfection, not denial, but presence, progress, and deep, quiet strength. Let me ask you something simple, but powerful. When was the last time you paused and truly felt grateful? Not for something massive, not after winning an award or achieving a huge goal, but in an ordinary moment, a quiet cup of coffee, a smile from a stranger, or simply the fact that you woke up this morning. Because here's a truth most of us overlook. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It's a mindset, a choice, a way of seeing. And when you learn to see life through the lens of gratitude, everything changes. Even your struggles, even your setbacks, even the moments you wish had gone differently. Now, I know that might sound idealistic, especially when you're in the middle of pain. But gratitude isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding what's still good, even when things aren't. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said it best. Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave them if they were not yours. In other words, look around. What do you already have, right now, that you once wished for? That home, that friendship, that breath, that lesson you earned through hardship. If it were gone, wouldn't you miss it? Gratitude is not about having more. It's about seeing more beauty, more meaning, more strength in the small things. And here's the amazing part. You can train your brain to do this. Science tells us that practicing gratitude literally rewires your mind. When you intentionally focus on what's good, you build new mental pathways. And over time, your default setting shifts from scarcity to appreciation, from anxiety to presence. So how do we put this into practice? Let me give you 3 simple tools. First, keep a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, write down just 3 things you're grateful for. They don't need to be profound. They just need to be real. Maybe it's the way your dog greeted you when you got home. Maybe it's the hot water in your shower. Maybe it's simply, I got through today. Writing it down matters. It makes the positive concrete, and it teaches your mind what to focus on. Second, express gratitude to others. When someone makes your life better, even in a small way, tell them. Thank your partner for listening. Thank your coworker for showing up. Thank your friend for sending that text when you were having a rough day. Why? Because expressing appreciation strengthens connection. And when we uplift others, we uplift ourselves. Third, look for gratitude in the hard moments. This one's not easy, but it's where the real growth happens. Let's say you're going through a tough time. You feel overwhelmed, lost, or stuck. In that moment, ask yourself, is there anything here I can be thankful for? Maybe it's the lesson you're learning. Maybe it's the clarity of realizing what really matters. Maybe it's simply your own resilience, the fact that you're still standing, still trying. Gratitude doesn't remove the pain, but it reminds you that the pain isn't all there is. It's the light in the dark room, the warmth in the middle of winter, the quiet whisper that says, keep going. So if life feels heavy right now, start small. One breath, one moment, one thing you can be thankful for. Because gratitude isn't just something you feel when life is good. It's something you practice so you can endure when life is hard. It's a mindset that grounds you in the present, frees you from comparison, and opens the door to joy, even when it's hard to find. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what went right today? And tomorrow, when the day begins again, carry that question with you. Let it shape your words, your outlook, and your heart. Because gratitude won't make your problems disappear, but it will make you stronger than your problems. And that is the kind of strength that builds a life worth living. There's a quiet truth about life that most of us don't like to face. But the sooner we do, the more peace we find. Nothing lasts forever. The joy, the pain, the people, the places, the moments that make your heart race, and the ones that break it. Everything is temporary, and yet, it's our refusal to accept this that causes so much of our suffering. We cling, we hold on, to relationships that have run their course, to routines that no longer serve us, to identities we've outgrown. And when life tries to move, when it changes, as it always does, we resist. But what if the very thing we fear is the very thing that sets us free? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a river, always moving, always flowing. You could step into it 1,000 times, but it would never be the same river twice. That's life. Trying to freeze it, trying to control it, trying to hold onto it as if it'll stay still forever. That's where the pain begins. But when we accept the flow, When we learn to ride the current instead of fight it, that's when peace begins. This is the heart of embracing impermanence. It means understanding that every chapter will close. Every moment will pass, not as a tragedy, but as a natural part of life. And when you realize this, you stop taking things for granted. You stop wasting time waiting for the perfect moment. You start living fully, deeply, and intentionally. Think about a friendship that ended. At the time, it hurt. Maybe you thought it would last forever. But now, with some distance, you see the growth, the lessons, the space it created for new connections. That pain wasn't permanent, neither was the bond, but it mattered, and it shaped you. That's the paradox of impermanence. Because nothing lasts forever, everything matters more. The hug from your child, the way sunlight spills across your desk in the morning, even the hard conversations, they become more meaningful when you know they're not infinite. And here's the thing. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean being numb or detached. It means showing up more fully because you know things are fleeting. It means saying, "I love you," while you still can. It means forgiving before the chance slips away. It means savoring the ordinary. Because one day, you'll realize it was never ordinary at all. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "All things pass away. The only thing that remains is how you choose to respond." So ask yourself, are you holding on to something that's already slipping through your fingers? Are you clinging to the past? Or resisting a future you can't control? Are you missing the beauty of this moment because you expect it to last forever? Letting go is hard, but resisting change is harder. When we embrace impermanence, we begin to see that change is not an enemy, it's a companion. It brings endings, yes, but it also brings beginnings. Every door that closes leads to another that opens. Every goodbye makes room for a new hello. And every ending is a quiet invitation to begin again, stronger, wiser, more alive. So here's your invitation. Start noticing the present moment more. Slow down. Taste your food. Feel the breeze. Look someone in the eyes when they speak. Be there, fully. Because that moment, it will pass. And when it does, you'll either be grateful you lived it, or regret you didn't. Life is a moving river. You can't hold it still. But you can float with it. Dance with it. Trust it. You don't need to control everything. You just need to flow. And in that flow, you'll find the kind of peace that doesn't come from certainty. It comes from surrender, from presence, from knowing that even though nothing lasts forever, every moment matters. Let's talk about something that quietly affects every single area of your life. Purpose. Not the kind you write down once a year on a vision board and forget about. I'm talking about the kind of purpose that gives your life direction. The kind that pulls you forward when everything else is falling apart. The kind that whispers, "Keep going," when quitting feels easier. Because here's the truth. When you don't know where you're going, every obstacle feels like a reason to stop. But when you do, even the setbacks feel like part of the journey. Without purpose, your mind becomes a playground for doubt, fear, and negativity. It's like floating in open water with no land in sight. Every wave feels like it might drown you. But with purpose, you've got a lighthouse, a guiding light. You still get hit by storms, but you don't lose your way. So how do we build a purpose-driven life? It doesn't start with a grand mission statement or some perfect 5-year plan. It starts with one question. What makes my life feel meaningful? Not what should matter, not what society says, but what truly lights you up, grounds you, moves you. Maybe it's being a great parent. Maybe it's serving others, creating something, learning. Maybe it's simply becoming the most honest, grounded version of yourself. There's no right or wrong answer. Your purpose doesn't have to be loud, impressive, or Instagram-worthy. It just has to be true. Once you begin to uncover that, the next step is to identify your core values. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What do I want my life to represent? What matters most to me, even when no one's watching? Your values are the compass. Purpose is the destination. And your daily actions? They're the steps that get you there. Because living with purpose isn't about waiting for a big moment. It's about aligning what you do today with what you care about most. That might mean choosing integrity over convenience, growth over comfort, connection over distraction. And listen, some days, that alignment feels easy. Other days, it feels like climbing uphill in the dark. That's why it helps to zoom out. Let's say you're building a business, writing a book, working toward a degree, or healing from something heavy. You will have moments when you want to quit. But if you're clear on why you started, your purpose, you'll keep going. Purpose gives pain perspective. It turns frustration into fuel. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It reminds you that hard things aren't always bad things. Now let's talk about distractions, because in today's world, they're everywhere. And if you're not grounded in purpose, it's easy to get pulled in every direction. That's why knowing what matters to you makes it easier to say no to what doesn't. It's not just about productivity, it's about protecting your energy. If your purpose is to nurture meaningful relationships, you'll spend less time scrolling and more time connecting. If your purpose is growth, you'll invest in learning instead of numbing. You stop chasing what looks good and start chasing what feels right. Here's the beauty of it all. You don't have to have it all figured out. Purpose isn't a fixed destination, it evolves as you do. What matters is that you start somewhere and stay curious. So take a moment, right now. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What would make me proud, not just today, but 10 years from now? And what's one action I can take this week to live more in line with that? Because you don't build a purpose-driven life in one leap. You build it in 1,000 small choices. And each one is a brick in the foundation of a life that's rich, grounded, and uniquely yours. Remember, a meaningful life isn't built by accident. It's built by intention. So keep showing up, keep listening to what stirs your heart, and keep choosing, again and again, to live a life that matters to you. So, let's bring this full circle. We've talked about negative thinking, about perception, resilience, gratitude, purpose, and so much more. But at the heart of it all, here's what I hope you remember. Negative thinking is not who you are. It's a habit, a pattern, and like any habit, it can be unlearned, replaced, and reshaped. It's easy to believe that the storm in your mind is permanent. That because you've felt this way for years. It must be your truth. But it's not. You are not broken. You are not doomed to stay stuck. You are capable of change. It starts with how you think. Because when you change your thoughts, you begin to change your life. And that change doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just by listening to a video or reading a quote. It happens slowly, quietly, daily, in the small moments. Like when you catch a negative thought before it spirals. Like when you pause, take a breath, and respond instead of react. Like when you choose to be kind to yourself, even on the days when your old habits scream the loudest. That's transformation. Not perfection, but progress. Not loud, but lasting. And this whole journey we've walked through together, it's not a checklist. It's a practice. You don't need to master it all at once. You just need to begin. Maybe today, your beginning is this: choosing one new thought to believe, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, reaching out to someone who inspires you, saying no to what drains you, and yes to what lights you up. Whatever it is, let it be your next right step. Because one small shift, done consistently, can completely change your direction. And if there's one quote to carry with you on this journey, let it be this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Let that truth sink in. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to fix the entire world. You just need to take back control of your own inner world, one thought, one action, one moment at a time. And when you do, you start showing up differently. You become calmer, clearer, stronger, not because life gets easier, but because you become more anchored. You become someone who doesn't just survive storms, but grows through them. And here's what I want you to do next. Take one thing from this series, just one, and apply it today. Don't wait until next week. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now, exactly where you are. And once you do, share it. Because there's someone out there right now, struggling the way you once did. And your insight, your growth, your voice, could be the spark they need. So don't keep this to yourself. If this journey spoke to you, share it with a friend, with someone in your family. Post it, talk about it. Let's build a world where more people feel seen, strong, and in control of their minds. And remember this: your journey won't be perfect. You'll slip up, you'll forget, you'll fall back into old ways sometimes. That's okay. Because the goal isn't perfection, it's direction. The goal isn't to become someone else, it's to become more of who you already are. Deep down. So keep going. Keep questioning old beliefs. Keep protecting your peace. Keep planting new thoughts, and watering them with action. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And that's the most powerful thing you could ever do. Thank you for being here, for choosing to grow. And until next time, stay mindful, stay intentional, and most importantly, stay true to the best version of yourself. You've got this. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And that's the most powerful thing you could ever do. Thank you for being here, for choosing to grow. And if this message resonated with you, if you want more content that grounds you, strengthens you, and helps you master your inner world, hit that subscribe button. Join this growing community of people who are committed to living with clarity, purpose, and strength, no matter what life throws at them. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode of this journey. Until next time.